these rocks and dirt and everything else just got, look at this. All of this just got flipped over by the wind. Done a lot of thinking about why I don't show what could be called train wreck video. I have no problems with fair and honest reporting. What I have a problem with is trying to pull people in to watching what I'm doing under the idea that it's a train wreck. Umpteen years ago, when I was homeless and living in a van parked off of the main streets of Seattle, you had people who, what you would call, fly the cardboard, and it was a code word for the people who would go, they are in need of spare change. There's about a half a dozen decent stories. Now, the worst ones would sit on the sidewalk and they would have like a kitten or a puppy. And about the time that the kitten or the puppy got big enough that it was no longer pulling in cuteness money, they would get rid of it and get another puppy or kitten. And this was always questionable about how they got rid of them and how they managed to acquire them. But what was the most repulsive to me about flying the cardboard was you start going in a negative direction. It is, the more wounded you are, the more helpless you are, the more pathetic you are, the more money you could make. The news would occasionally have stuff like women faking being pregnant by wearing theater gear. I knew one guy who did his flying the cardboard out of a wheelchair. One day I was riding a bus and all of a sudden I see him pushing the wheelchair. He wasn't really that, he wasn't any of the things. He claimed he had 7 children. He claimed this, that, and the other thing. That he had cancer. Now, the next video clip kind of summarizes something that I would always mentally think of whenever the idea of showing, well, you'll kind of get it. I'll make a comment later.
Are you ready, eager young space cadet?
I'm all set, your hero ship, sir.
Then make way for Duck Dodgers in the 24th and a half century. Oops, had the silly thing in reverse.
See, I never want to show that I've got the damn thing in reverse. I never want it to be that I look for an advantage of going backwards. Because once you start on that path, there's no telling how far down you're going to go. Now, I've had in Forks, Washington, a veteran's assistant who wanted me not to sell everything I own, not to gather up and put into like a small box all the family photos, etc., of stuff that was in storage, documents, mementos, anything of value. Her orders to me were to stop paying on storage, just flat out stop, so that I could more fit into her veterans recovery program. She didn't ask what I owned. She didn't ask whether or not, going to the point where nothing but the contents of my pockets was going to have an emotional effect on me. But you want to talk about going the most got it in reverse. That's one of the things. What I am not seeing from the critics is where somebody's saying, this is the path forward. Here's the funding for you to stop being on Social Security. Here's the funding for you to become independent. It's always about becoming dependent on something like a slumlord, a minimum wage job, a horrible future. I don't want that either.